Oh, everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well and enjoying this beautiful Thursday evening we got going on here. Welcome to the writing department specific webinar with our incredible, esteemed, amazing writing department chair, Zay Amsbury. Zay Amsbury. Beep, 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 beep. I like to do that, I like to make it flashy. Zay, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. I may have to briefly disappear to take care of my cat, who is at the moment she's very chill, but at any moment she could start reaching her paws underneath my lap. Oh, there she goes. All right, I'll be right back.
We love cat sightings here. You will probably see my cat pop up with the tail. It's always happening. We're also joined by CISA admin support, Stacy Savoca. Stacy, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
And we're so happy to have you here. We're ready to dig into all things writing department. I'm Jessica Hemingway. I'm the program manager of the CISA Foundation. And I'm just going to run you through a little bit of housekeeping, and then we'll dive into some CISA specific material, and then I'll throw it over to Zay and we can go over everything writing. So sit back, relax, make sure you're on mute. If you have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat. If not, unmute and ask the question. At the end of the slide presentation, we'll usually do a big Q&A, and that's when all of your burning questions can be asked and will be answered, basically. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, California State Summer School for the Arts, also known as CSSSA, is a month-long residential summer arts program for high school students in California. We're a state-run program. We've been around for almost 40 years. A really great thing that I'd like to highlight here is you got two alumni on this call here. I'm an alumni of the program, and our esteemed writing chair is an alumni of the program itself. So we're two experts here. We know what you're going through. So this is our community. We're composed of over 400 students, and we have about 150 faculty and staff that support the students during the summer session. So the ratio of student to teacher is about 4 students to 1 teacher. That's a lot of individualized attention and, one-on-one time with your instructor. We pull from across the state as it is part of our mission to represent each of the 58 California counties. In addition, we have a small number of students who come from out of state. We keep that pool small to about 20 out of the 400 plus student community because we want the bulk of our population to be California State students. Hey, we're a California State program. We are located on the Cal Poly Pomona campus. As I said, CSIS residential, which means you come to Cal Poly Pomona and you live there for 4 weeks. It's your chance to live like a creative college student while you're still in high school. Get a little time away from the parents, away from the siblings, come into your own, like a little independence. While you're on campus, you have access to all of the amenities that Cal Poly Pomona has to offer, state-of-the-art technology, lab, shops, studio spaces, performance spaces. You're living in the dorms, you're having your meals in the main cafeteria, and you get to engage in recreational activities and field trips. The application is live. It closes very soon. It's an online application. It's got 4 main parts to it. First part is contact information and that of your parents or guardian. There's a $20 application fee, but waivers are granted at the end of the application for students to choose. We would like 2 references from a teacher, an artist, a mentor, someone who knows you, knows your work. The third part are transcripts. You can upload an unofficial copy to the online app. And the fourth part are the arts assignments, which we will go into detail on this webinar for writing. The application deadline is coming up February 28th, 2026 at 6 p.m. So make sure you are applying early. Don't leave it till that last minute. February 28th, February 28th, 2026. So let's get into all things writing. I'm going to pop it over here to Zay, and you can lead us through what a student can expect in the writing program. Oh, he's giving us 1 second, 1 second.
I'm muted. I just need a glass of water.
Oh, perfect.
Luckily, there's glasses of water laying around everywhere. Okay. So the writing department, the broad structure of the program, the curriculum can change from year to year. Generally speaking, the structure works like this. You'll have a core class. In that class will be a week-long introductory class into one domain of writing. And usually that is fiction, memoir, poetry, and like in all likelihood, some form of dramatic writing. Those classes last 1 week. And then you get a subject that you get to choose. Those subjects are, generally speaking, poetry, fiction, nonfiction slash memoir, and perhaps some form of dramatic writing or playwriting option. Also, every week, there is what we call the colloquium, where the faculty will choose writers to read in front of the entire department. And actually, it's an open reading, so really anyone from the entire school can come and listen to those readings. Also, every year we have a writing anthology or a literary magazine. That literary magazine is effectively a class. So one of the faculty members guides the students, but the students serve as the editorial staff. So students will accept submissions. They'll do the editing, the arrangement, the graphic design, the layout, the whole 9 yards. The only thing we do is sort of guide you through the process and do the printing. Not personally, we have people for that. Um, but
Would be
that's
impressive.
sort of that's sort of like the overview.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Say. And if I can, go off script here a little bit, I have some follow-up questions for you regarding this program. So are students working mostly independently, solo, or is there group work? How does that work in the program?
So sometimes we do have group work here and there throughout the program. Um, we'll often at various times throughout the week, we'll meet as a whole department. And during those times, we'll often do projects that will sort of get you, because like writers can tend to be a little in their head. And what we do is not by its nature collaborative in the same way that theater or film or even really music are collaborative. So it's important to learn how to work with others to create pieces. We don't do extensive group work, but that will definitely be part of the curriculum once it's all set.
Amazing. All right, let's get into these application assignments. So the first assignment, assignment A, a video recording. Oh, I thought this was supposed to be a writing program.
Um, I know. It's funny. I've been talking lately to CSSA students from many moons past, theater students in particular who applied before the advent of cell phones. And so they would talk about the hassle involved in recording an audition video to a VHS tape and then mailing the tape to the CISA offices, which at the time were in Sacramento. I guess they're still in Sacramento. Um, but yeah, no, we want a video recording. There are a couple of reasons for that. There are two central reasons. The central one of the reasons is we kind of want to see how language works through you, if that makes any sense. So, like, when you're addressing the following questions, who are you? Why do you write? What writers, books, short stories, or poems inspire you? You can do that off the cuff. You can write something down and then read it out loud. However you want to approach it is completely okay. The limit is 2 minutes, but it doesn't have to go 2 minutes. Um, this isn't like there are no like extra points for word count. This is really about just being who you are, and sharing a little bit of that.
Great. Sounds fun. All right. Assignment B.
All right. Prose fiction. Think about something you yearn for. Imagine a character who wants the same thing but for different reasons. Write a short story about this character trying and risking to get what they want. 700 words, double spaced. I should also say 12-point font and would be handy. So this amounts to what's called flash fiction, which is like a very, very, very short piece of fiction. And as you might imagine, in 700 words, it's less about having like a beginning and a middle and an end. And some of you may be familiar with like Freytag's pyramid and things like that. And I would say, as you approach this project, don't worry about any of that. Don't worry about any of that. Just have a look at the prompt and respond and see what you can do in 700 words. What you end up with may not end up feeling like a story. It may feel like a moment or a vignette or a sequence of images, and that is a-okay. Dramatic writing. Imagine a character based on someone in your life who you can't relate to. Write a scene in which you and this imagined character must work together to solve a problem. You know, I feel like so there are two things about this assignment. One is on the creative side, and one is on the technical side. On the creative side, I think the operative word here is relate to. Um, like this doesn't mean someone that like inspires like wrath. Um, but someone you can't relate to, someone for whom there's a kind of empathy or sympathy um, gap. Um, and yeah, I would say focus on the word relate. And then there's a format question. In dramatic writing, in playwriting in particular, there's no real set format. If you just like Google play format or play script format, then you'll find a version that will work. We are not sticklers, and there is no set format for play script. If you want to do this in a screenplay format, that is okay also. Screenplay format is a little more rote and technical, but again, if you Google it, you can find it. That said, it does not need to be perfect format. It really, 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 really doesn't. I would say do not get hung up on that. There are a lot of like certainly direct writer directors who write in something that looks nothing like standard screenplay writing format. So do not worry about format. The most important thing is that these two characters are talking and what they're doing is driven by dialogue, right? Not description. Spoken word poetry, record a spoken word performance that expresses who you are. Pretty simple. I think the word here that might be dangerous is the word performance. Like, you may have seen like slam poetry competitions or I don't know. I know that there are some like academic competitions for recitals or whatnot. Um, what we're looking for is you to share your poem. Just share it. Just be there, be present, and relate your poem. Um, I'm seeing some notes in the chat that say that the prompts on the website are different than what is here. Um,
Yeah, I'm looking at right now.
Here, I'm just going to bring that up and we can do that. That is in all
Yeah, let me
likelihood.
stop the share and then I can share it from the
Okay. That is completely my fault, I would imagine. Okay, here we go. All right. Assignment A. Okay, assignment A is the same. Okay, B is original writing. Okay, one is prose fiction. Okay, great. All right. We're gonna go back. Pretend the past few moments did not happen. We are experiencing real-time revisions. Prose fiction. Think about a moment in your life when you felt something. Okay. I remember why I changed this. Think about a moment in your life when you felt something intensely, happiness, sadness, joy, anger. Imagine a fictional character who feels the same feeling but for different reasons. Write a story about this character as they change from that feeling to a completely different, just as intense feeling. That's a much better prompt. Um, I think fairly self-explanatory. 2 pages, double spaced, 12-point font, please. And again, this is very short. So the note here is similar in that um, try not to get hung up on whether or not this is a story in a way that you might have understood what a story is, beginning, middle, and end, phrase tags, pyramid, whatever it is. It's really just responding to the prompt. Dramatic writing. Think of someone in your life who you have had a hard time relating to. Imagine a character based on that person. Okay, that's the same. Record a performance of a spoken word piece that responds to the prompt, what I left, also much better. Okay, so again, very similar. Record the performance of a spoken word piece that responds to the prompt, what I left behind. Again, trying not to get hung up on performance. This is really more about sharing this piece. 4, poetry. Imagine each room of your home and the details that make the rooms unique, the way they smell, memories, how the rooms look at a certain time of day. Write a poem that uses these rooms to express how you feel about your family. Um, Again, pretty self-explanatory. Limit 2 pages, single space, 12-point font. Yeah, just respond. All right, and then C, writing sample. Share a piece you wrote on your own. And this is completely open. It can be an excerpt, it can be something complete. For prose or poetry, no more than 2 pages, 12-point font. And for screenplay or play format, 3 pages is okay. Um, all right. And then finally, so as I mentioned before, the focus class, um, it what the focus class is can change based on what people seem to want to do. So just rank all of those options. Short stories, realism slash literary fiction. Those are sort of like, the kind of short stories you read in like the New Yorker or like I don't know what you read in school now, in high school nowadays, like Raymond Carver or Hemingway or Flannery O'Connor, that sort of thing. Memoir, novel in a month. We did novel in a month once. My good friend Mike Buckley taught it. By the end of the 4 weeks, Mike and all the students looked like they had walked around the entire world. They had 1,000-yard stares and they had all found glory. It was a beautiful 4 weeks. Also, scripts for a comic book or graphic novels, screenwriting, poetry, playwriting, TV writing, or genre fiction. So, science fiction, fantasy, horror, speculative. I would also add to that uh, like historical fiction, romance, any form of genre fiction. All
And we
right.
did, I will make a note. We talked about this a little bit before. I do have it different on this slide, and forgive me for being wrong on the other slides. You said, Zay, that screenwriting would perhaps not be offered, or maybe
Yeah,
we'll try to rank that one.
yeah, oh yeah. Go ahead and rank it. Go ahead and rank it. We'll see what the demand is, and respond accordingly. So I mean, just respond to what is on the list that's online. And the mismatch here that's on me, not on Jessica.
All right, returning students.
So um, if there happen to be any students here who were students in any previous year who are reapplying. Um, what it says on the website is we expect the returning students have continued writing after leaving CSSSA and can show their development as writers. If you previously attended CSSSA, please write a statement that responds to the following questions. What did you learn from your time at CSSSA? How and in what ways has your writing grown since leaving CSSSA? What do you plan to do with your 4 weeks if you return? Um, CISA's really great. It's a really great 4 weeks. And what happens in the classroom is kind of like only half of what's great about it. I've been talking to a lot of former CISA students lately, and one of the things that is really consistent in what they talk about is how just being around a bunch of like 499 like-minded young artists is transformative in and of itself. Um, and every year, the students and the faculty that year together build an artistic community that is unique. Every year is unique. And so sometimes students want to come back because CISA is a good hang, and it's a good hang. But when you come back, it's different because there's a different group of people. So coming back to CISA to hang, just to hang, remembering the people that you were with your first time, it can be a very disappointing and unfulfilling experience. The thing that CISA does always have is the work. If you attended one year and you want to return because you feel like you have more growth in you, that CISA can offer you more, um, and you're comfortable being in a bit of a leadership position, those are all good reasons to return. Um, and the reasons why we don't ask return students back who apply um, are either because they don't articulate clearly why they want to come back, and often it's sometimes because the student we can't we can't offer anything else to the student, like if someone comes one year and they have gone all the way and they have grown as much as they can in the environment that we can offer, um, it is not best for us to ask them back because we simply cannot offer them more. So the reasons why we do or do not accept returning students are complicated. And if you are a student who is applying a second time and you don't get in, well, first of all, I already know who you are. Secondly, don't take it personally. Thirdly, send me an email.
Amazing. I think that's our last slide. Should we dive into the chat?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to spotlight Use for everyone. And then I'll
Oh
add
my God,
myself.
even for me.
All right, let's dive into the chat. Yes, thank you for the eagle eyes for catching that the two weren't lining up. And Zay, it's nice of you to say it wasn't your fault, but it technically was my fault because I made the PowerPoint. So I'm sorry. See to all the writers out there, take it from me. Always double check your work. Okay, let's get into these. Let's get into these questions. Into these questions. Okay, so for the assignment for the writing sample, we say do not use a school assignment if it is a creative writing or story written at school, like in a school class, can it be used?
Um, so there are two answers to this question. The first answer to the question is, uh, how will we know? Like, we're not going to know. Like, we're not clairvoyant. Um, well, we have our moments, but um, I really would rather that the work that you use in your application is not something you generated in school. And the reason for that is not because one can't generate personal work in a school setting. It's because when you self-generate or self-start, or when you write stuff outside the context of an institution, in your own space, in your own time, for your own reasons, it is more likely that some piece of your voice will emerge. And that's what we're curious about. Um, so the first answer is, I mean, do what you want to do. but the second part of the answer is the reason why.
Great. Will students have to bring their own personal laptops or will computers be provided?
I think what we say is if you have access to a laptop, please bring it. If you do not, we can provide laptops for use for the 4 weeks. Pardon me. Like if you have your own laptop, then I would say definitely bring it because then that's your I mean, sometimes people like to sort of like, oh, I've got this manual Underwood typewriter from 1939 and like it's got magic oldness to it. Or like, hey, I have a journal that's made out of, I don't know, leather that my uncle sourced in Colorado when he was 12. I don't know. But your laptop is just as much your personal tool as a magic pencil might be. So, like, I know I have a personal relationship with my laptop. So, I would say if you have a laptop, please do bring it. Um, that said, if you do not have access to one, or maybe your family shares one, we are able to provide a laptop for you for use in those 4 weeks.
Great. And a little confusion still on the one of the prompts that has the word count.
Yeah,
So is the word count 700 or just 2 pages? Doesn't matter what the word
just
count.
go with what's on the website. So if
Okay.
it says 2 pages, it's 2 pages, but please stick to 12-point font and double spaced.
Great. No
I
1.5.
I went ahead and put in the chat a link to the website with the requirements. So this is where you should refer to because this is what will be in the application when you actually go in and submit the documents, the responsive documents to upload. So that's what you want to go by, not what was in the slides. You want to go by the requirements on the website and that are in the application.
Thanks so much,
Correct.
Stacy. Okay, diving back into the chat here. How big are the class sizes?
They vary from about 10 to 12.
In each class they take, and then obviously when you meet as a department, it's everybody, but how big is the
Yeah,
department?
so yeah, the whole department, it varies. It's usually between around 70 students, like 70 to 75. We also sometimes we do so the core class and the focus class will be like 10 to 12 students. Um, we also last year we did these sort of master classes that were more of like a master class or lecture style. And in those cases, we broke the department into half. So that was like 30, well, last year it was like 30 students per those classes. But your writing classes proper will be 10 to 12 students generally.
Great. And do students get to decide which core class to take first?
No, that will be assigned. That will be assigned. So, you'll have a week on poetry, a week on fiction, a week on memoir, maybe a week on dramatic writing. But that will be chosen by the order in which you experience them will be oh, hey, Kat.
I
The
know.
order in which you experience them will be determined by the faculty.
Great. And CISA doesn't typically post or, promote acceptance rate, but do you have kind of like a rough estimate of, how many people apply versus how many people are in the program?
I'd say maybe, I don't know, 20%-ish. It varies quite a bit year to year.
And what about the writing assignments? Do they have to be fully completed?
For the application,
Ooh, it's not clear in the question, so maybe Karina, you would like to clarify. Maybe you could speak to both
oh, I see it.
application
Karina
and
says yes. Yes.
yes on both.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm wondering. I'm wondering where the question's coming from a little bit. Yes, they need to be complete. They need to be complete.
Great. Oh, like if stories are too long or don't fit the
Ah,
the
so
question.
so this is why for each of the prompts, they should be original and tailored to the application, except for the assignment where you're submitting your own previously written work. And in that case, it can be an excerpt. So, for example, if your per so for like if you choose to do the prose fiction application, the prose fiction option, then yeah, it should be a complete story. Or a complete, I don't like the word story. It should be complete in and of itself. Should be a complete response to the assignment.
Mm,
The fact that it's 2 pages is part of the process. It's part of like it's hard, you know.
mm,
Um, when you're submitting your own previously written work, that can be an excerpt. So like, if you have a 1,000 word novel, 1,000 word, sorry, 1,000 page novel, then yeah, just submit a few of the pages and maybe give us a little summary so we can understand. Or if you've written a full screenplay.
great. And then, so on a daily basis, what would the hours of the class look like? Can you take us through a day in the life of a writing
Sure.
student?
A day, let's see, a day in the life of a writing student. You wake up 5 minutes before the cafeteria closes for breakfast and you run. Actually, I don't know how far it's going to be because it's in a new place. But so classes run from 9 to 5. I'll tell you what the structure was last year, and we may tweak it for 26. Monday through Friday in the morning from, I believe, 9 until 11:30, you have your core class. Then you have an hour break for lunch. In the afternoon from 12:30 to 2:30, math. Okay. You have your focus class, which is the elective, the one you choose. And then from 3 till 4:30, two things happen simultaneously. One is office hours. So during that time, you can sign up to meet with anyone on the faculty, clearly your core and or your focus instructor, but also anybody else to talk about anything you're working on or anything really. I mean, if you want to come talk to me about Sinners for half an hour, I will talk to you about Sinners for half an hour. Um, and that same hour and a half long period of time, um, uh, is I think we call it the writer's desk, and that means that you need to be writing. Um, and there are certain locations where you can go, right? So I believe once again we'll have a library. There'll be various places on campus that you can work. Um, and then at about 5, those classes end. So Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. On Friday, we basically had morning and afternoon sessions of master classes that also lasted about 9 to 5. Um, or no, 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 no. On Fridays, yeah, we had 2 sessions of the master class slash lectures. Then we had the writer's colloquium, which is when the students get up and read. And then on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m., we have guests. So guest artists, professional writers, novelists, poets, screenwriters, TV writers come and speak, share their work, etc.
Great. Great day in the life. Love it. Okay, so if someone is applying to more than one program, is there a way to specify the priority of their choice?
Don't tell me it'll hurt my feelings.
I,
No,
I
you
answered
can't
it.
you can't go wrong with the
I-
department here.
yeah, I
Yeah.
answered it in the chat. But because we're being recorded, it's always good. In the application itself, there's not really a way to indicate a preference.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I guess your preference is your choice that you decide if you get into more than one. So what you decide is what you're going to get. And I will say, some people do ask me like, hey, if I got into two that I really liked. I choose one. I get there and I decide I want to go to another one. Is there a way I can switch? And the answer is no.
No.
Your choice is your choice. Okay, that's it for questions in the chat. Do we have any more questions? Load them up. Anything else people want to know? Here we go. Are we allowed to leave campus after classes are over? Now, Stacy, this is kind of a question for you.
So we're at a new host site in 2026. So if you were attending previously at CalArts, there was a local shopping center that students were allowed to go to in their
Very
off
chill walk to
times.
Walmart.
Yeah, so we don't have information yet if students will be able to go off campus at Cal Poly, possibly not. So we'll have more information as we get closer to the program. And definitely once, students are invited, they'll be given direction on how that looks like. Now you can't go on the weekend, so not the first weekend of CISA, but starting the second after classes are over on Saturday, which most classes programs finish it. And since we're on writings, do you guys usually finish about noon on Saturday?
One at the latest.
One at the latest. So after your classes or required activities finish on Saturday, your parents or somebody that they designate can pick you up and you can come back Sunday evening. If you choose to stay, there's lots of activities that are happening. Field trips tend to happen on Sunday, like, in previous years, we've gone to Disneyland, we've gone to other events. So, yeah.
Uh,
Does that answer
to
the question?
Sorry, I just saw the cat question.
I know we should get we're getting a little bit into like student life, which we can veer to because not a lot of writing specific questions. So we'll run through some of these. I see can family visit family can't visit classes, but family can pick you up definitely and bring you home. And then, family's allowed to move you in when you're at the dorms and then obviously pick you up when you're ready to leave. But no, we don't have designated family hours or a family day. And then we have a question here. Are we allowed to bring pets? God, I wish we were. We have a no animal policy unless it's like a service animal, and that needs to be, obviously coordinated with the CISA office if you have like a service dog or something with you.
You
But the
can bring your
dorms,
stuffed buddies, though.
I know we do stuffed animals. We allow FaceTimes with cats. But yeah, believe me, if we didn't have the pet policy, all of us would be bringing our cats. They're our family. Okay. Is there a specific font assignment should be? Font question.
I almost want to say no because I'm curious what would happen. Um,
Comic Sans Times.
Wingdings. Okay, so I would say approach this. Imagine that you're submitting to a magazine
Mm,
or you're sending a query letter to an agent. In those cases, the most important thing is clarity and um, preventing distraction from the work. So Comic Sans or like colorful letters will be distracting. You want, or the work is what's important. So showing the work as clearly as possible is what can be the most effective for the reader to see the work. So uh, because of that, the sort of most boring standards of all time are the best. So like Times New Roman. I think people really dig Georgia nowadays.
mm.
Um, if you really need to courier, but I would say Georgia, Times New Roman, if you're doing a player screenplay courier, it can be okay. Um, yeah.
Great answer to that question. Okay, will there be deadlines for the assignments? I assume during the
During
program
the
because
program?
yes.
Yes. Yes. So different instructors handle assignments really, really differently. Some of the instructors, almost all of the writing is done in class. So there is no writing outside of class. It's all in class. For other, for most of the other instructors, you will be writing outside of class and the deadline will be made clear. Usually it's the next day, maybe it's 2 days later. But yeah, there are definitely deadlines for when you need to bring back the work that you've been asked to write.
And will assignments be graded?
Absolutely. I mean, no, no, no. So as I'm sure many of you know, CSSSA offers college credit for successful completion of the course, and it's considered pass fail. Um, what we do want is for you to grow as a writer, to develop. And one way or another, what that means is some form of response from the writer, from the faculty, from the instructor, and also from your peers. The form that that takes, like how the critique or the response is approached, varies quite a bit. Like if you're doing like a very, very technical assignment, like write a 500 word story that's in one sentence. Then if you write that 500 word story in 3 sentences, then like, you've have technically not completed the assignment. Then again, many other things are so subjective. So what's difficult in writing in particular is when you're in the class to be really, really sensitive and to pay a lot of attention to your fellow writers, um, and to slowly over time absorb the craft and technique that we're working on in each individual class. So, no, nothing's graded, and yet almost everything you write in class will receive some form of response. Um, and certainly later in the class, revisions will be asked of you, if that makes sense. And if anyone has any more specific questions about how uh, the workshops work, just go ahead and ask those questions, and I can answer those questions.
So for assignment B, if somebody chooses poetry and then they also want to submit poetry for their writing sample, is that okay with you, or should they show other range, different other different kinds of writing assignments?
No, no. I mean, if poetry is your thing, then double up.
Great.
Um, we're not the main thing that it's so funny. I was talking to this guy named Richard Cooper who taught in the music department for a really long time. And he'd never taught high school age students before he started teaching at CSSSA. And he was talking about how interesting it was looking at the music applications because in music, you can make amazing, amazing, original, beautiful, heartfelt, filled with voice, original music without being able to read music or knowing any music theory. You can also do it having been trained hardcore from 5 years old on like how to play one Mahler. What does Mahler do? Sonatas? I don't know. How to do one piece of classical music. Um, and in both cases, what the faculty were looking for was that individual person's voice and if that voice can work its way through music. And we're looking for the same thing. Like there's this weird thing in writing, sometimes where people think that like good writing needs things like good writing has a kind of like formal or like kind of fuddy-duddy feeling to it, or even really like grammar and spelling. I mean, like anybody who really wants to write can take the time to learn grammar and spelling. I don't teach grammar and spelling. Like, if nobody in the room knows how to spell Jurassic, then that's okay, as long as I feel like the dinosaur is going to eat me, if that makes any sense at all. Um, so if your voice comes to the surface through poetry, then show me that. If it's prose, show me that. If you happen to be a particularly omnivorous person, well, that's not the right word, but if you do a bunch of things, do a bunch of things. But please do not do variety for the sake of variety. Don't do anything for the sake of anything except for being yourself on the page in the way that you know how. And if you're worried that your poem doesn't look like a Shakespeare sonnet, or if you're worried that your prose doesn't sound like George Orwell, then good, because it really shouldn't.
Wonderfully said. Can you talk about what the video assignment would look like? Are students allowed to get creative with the application video that introduces themselves?
Please do get creative. I'm very excited. Yes, do get creative. I mean, I think back to when I applied for CISA. Like, if I had to do this at 15 years old, being a very, very shy kid, I would be terrified. And I would be like, "Hi, my name is Zay, and I like Harlan Ellison and Ursula Le Guin, and I want to write about like ideas, I think, and sentences are pretty, and yes, please, thank you." That's probably what I would have done, to be frank. So however you want to do it, if you want to get creative, get creative. I mean, I could have a Honey or Salinas back there do it for me, maybe. Yeah, however you want to do it is however you do it. It's another way to show us who you are. And if you want to just if you want to be basic about it, be basic. It's a-okay.
About how much material or new material will students be creating on average while they're in the program?
That is a very good question. It really varies. If if we do a novel in a month class, aside from probably killing Mike Buckley, um, like you could write 65,000 words, which is like uh 250, 300 pages. Um, if you are have a poetry class in the afternoon and you write spare poems, then maybe you're writing 4 poems a week, plus whatever you're doing in your morning class. So it varies wildly. Um, CISA is one of these places where um, uh, the more you put in, the more you get out of it. You know, I mean, sometimes in office hours, a student will be like, "Hey, uh, here's my cycle of 300 poems. Can you tell me what you think?" And a part of me is like, No, no, that's a lot, but of course I do, and it's lovely. So if you just do the basics of what's required, then you're probably going to be writing about four-ish poems a week, and maybe, I don't know, five-ish pages a day. But that's a wild, wild estimate. It really depends on what the classes you end up in are like, which instructor you have, and how deep you go.
Great. So for poetry, can someone use colored text to help convey certain points, like a word or a section?
Yeah, I would say do what serves your work.
Great. And I don't see any more questions in the chat. So if you have them, put them in, drop them in, let us know. While you're thinking, while you're percolating, I'll ask, Zay, sometimes certain departments do their own field trips. Do you think writing will take a field trip this year?
Um, yes. So like the thing about writing field trips is like what do you do? Like Susan Laurie Parks is a one of the greatest playwrights of the 20th century, and she did this thing that actually Harlan Ellison, a science fiction writer, did before her, where she would write plays in the lobby of the Public Theater in New York City, and you could like go and like just watch Susan Laurie Parks, who's brilliant, just write. And she would have like writing parties, like you go up there and bring your laptop or a notebook, and you all just sort of write together, and then like chit chat afterwards. And looked at from the outside, you're like, oh, this is Susan Laurie Parks, Pulitzer Prize winning writer who is amazing. And also, this is definitely the most boring thing I've seen in my life. Um, so in the past, we've gone to sometimes literary festivals are kind of synced up. Or maybe if there is a particularly sort of writerly kind of play or production up in LA, because not all productions would sort of be in service to that. Um, I my intent is to have a field trip, and I only want to do it if it makes sense, if that makes sense.
Cool. Okay, another question has come through the chat. When it comes to the material that students will be creating, how would it be for fiction? How much material are they creating for like a fiction
How
class?
much material?
That's what I think this person is asking. Of course, you
Um,
can clarify in the
I mean,
chat.
again, it really depends. So like last year, I taught an afternoon class called Memoir to Metaphor, where we started writing memoir, and then we sort of used the material that came up to write fiction. And we did a lot of writing in class, and there were probably about two assignments a week, and those assignments were probably the equivalent of three-ish pages, which is what I said. I said, hey, please no more than three-ish pages. Um, Almost everyone in class would write more than uh, the limit. Um, so again, it's sort of hard to determine. Um, I'll say it like this. You're going to write more than you've ever written before. You're going to be working harder than you've ever worked before as a writer. And we know that it is a very intense program. And we know that it is tiring, not physically tiring. You're not physically tiring, go to the dance department or the theater department. They're beat. Oh, I got a little thumbs up. But it will be emotionally and intellectually and spiritually, if you are into words like that, challenging. And you will find that you get to the bottom of your well, and then you'll need to keep digging.
Mm,
We know that. We do it by design. And so we pace it. And we also keep a careful eye on you. So, the department, it's 70 people, there are seven instructors, and we know all of you very, very well. And we will take care of you. And we will also not stop gently pushing you. So if the concern is there's going to be too much, there is going to be too much. If the concern is there's not going to be enough, there will be more than enough.
mm. Oh, great. Any other questions? This will be our last call. Last call for lingering questions. Um, Anything you want to know about writing department related, application related, anything. Last call for the burning questions that you have on the tip of your tongue here when you're before you're ready to submit this assignment. Uh, while people are thinking of their last questions, I'll ask you one question, Zay. How can people combat imposter syndrome before apply or while applying to this program?
Imposter syndrome. I remember most of my life, all my friends have been artists. And and I remember I went to this party in New York once, and it was all people on the publishing side, editors, agents. Uh, and that's a very challenging world. It's a very difficult world because essentially you're just setting up you're commodifying art is your job. It's your livelihood. It's very competitive. And these people were like, I don't know, I would tell them I was a writer and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, what have you done? What have you done? Like, what have you done?" And I'm like, "Well, I had a play that I wrote and it went up and I wrote this and it was published there." And they're like, "Really? I haven't heard of it." And I remember leaving thinking, like feeling bad, like feeling like what I've been told by writing teachers and fellow writers my whole life, which is that if you're writing and if you're doing the work, then you're a writer and nobody gets to tell you that you're not. And the truth is, if you write, if you apply and you get accepted, it doesn't change who you are. If you apply and you don't get accepted, it doesn't change who you are. Your pursuit, your yearning, your pleasure at writing, your frustration at writing. Um, Samuel R. Delany once said, "A writer is someone for whom the act of writing is hard."
Hmm.
So if this is hard and you feel vulnerable and you're worried about what people might think, but you do it anyway, welcome. You are part of my team.
I love that. Okay, two questions just popped up. These will be our last two. This is a great question. How can a student combat potential burnout prior to or even during their time at CISA?
Mm, that is a very good question. Um, I'm going to do during first. So during, um, like, there's a part of me that wants to say, like, just get burned out, burn out, burn out. Um, uh, what I've seen, first of all, the writing faculty again, like we're all like, sensitive, artsy fartsy, writerly people, and so we will be looking, we'll be looking through you. And if we see that you're struggling for any reason, we will talk to you and we will help. Um, there are also counselors on staff who are like spectacularly good at their job. Um, and we can also we also throttle up and throttle down. What you can do while at CISA is are things that some things you have under your control, like eat food,
Mhm.
drink water. Um, and I'm guessing this will be easier at Cal Poly Pomona. Find time to be alone.
Mm.
Writers are often introverts, and so we we have a hard time. Maybe you've never lived with a roommate for 4 weeks and just knowing that you're going back to a room where another person might be, even if they are awesome, even if you love them, it can be draining. So finding time to be alone. We'll have quiet spaces. We'll have the library. Hopefully it won't be 2000 degrees outside. You can go for a walk. So like find space and sleep, you know, um, and maybe a little exercise. Um, and also the nice thing about having seven writing instructors, they're all really different. So like if you're there and you're feeling like you're a little burned out, you want to talk to one of the faculty members, you don't want to talk to me. Hopefully you'll feel more of comfortable or more of a connection with one of the other writing instructors. Before CISA, um, I would say like, it's hard not to stress out. Um, but like what happens when you get to CISA, you have like no control over until you get there. So like, do things that charge your batteries. Try and sleep, try and spend time with people you're comfortable with, drink water, read books, maybe even take a writing break. It's okay to do that.
And our last question here, if somebody gets rejected a second time or not accepted, how can they contact you and ask why?
Um, like a return student?
Chris is asking if we get rejected a second time, how will we email you?
Hmm. Um,
You can always email comments@cisa.ca.gov.
yeah,
Yeah,
We'll put that.
I'm gonna post that in
yeah,
the chat right now.
yeah.
Great. It's 6:01. Thank you so much, Zay, for all of your amazing, thoughtful answers to these incredible, incredible questions. You've made this program the incredible program that it is, and I'm so excited for your students this summer. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. So thank you, Zay. Thank you, Stacy, for all the admin support, and thanks
Thanks,
everybody
Stacy. Nice to
for
see you.
yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. This webinar is being recorded and it will be put on YouTube tomorrow. So if you know somebody who wasn't able to join us, tell them to check out our YouTube channel and work on those applications. Submit them as early as you can. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody.